So both excellent max cushioned running shoes. So for me, two of the best, or if not the best on the market. They far outperform their rivals. And shoe comparison I've got for you guys today. So we are going to put the brand new Mizuno Wave Sky 9 up against the PUMA MAGMAX Nitro. So we'll go through their similarities, differences and key features, and hopefully from that'll give you guys a great indication of choosing the right shoe for you. But before we get into it, and if you guys want to support the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And with the specs, both neutral road running shoes and certainly both in that max cushion category. Now checking out the rest of the specs, so they're pretty much evenly matched across the board. So same price point here in Australia, and I reckon they're going to be pretty similar in the US as well. And in the weight, as you can see, they're a little bit between them, slightly lighter package here with the Sky 9. Is that noticeable? Well, in the hand, it sort of is noticeable. I think the Sky 9 is the more balanced shoe and it doesn't feel as bottom heavy. And in the stack, slightly higher stack here in the MAGMAX, but I can't really tell the difference. But I tell you what you can notice, and that's that little difference between the 8mm drop in the MAGMAX to the Sky 9, the 6mm. The Sky 9 certainly feels like the flattest shoe here. And in the upper, so what we've got here in the Sky 9, the material that they use here is what they call a smooth stretch woven. Now the material itself, to me, it feels actually quite robust. There's not too much stretch in it. Breathability is okay through the toe box here, but it probably could be better. And I probably like the material in general just to be a little bit more conforming around the foot. Really solid heel count at the back, a mini Achilles flare, medium amount of padding around the heel collar, but a plush padded tongue, which is gusseted. Standard lacing system, so no internal straps. Reinforced eyelets and a pretty standard lacing system. Does a pretty good job through the midfoot there for a lockdown and no heel slippage in the back with this one. In the fit, I'm going to say true to size in the length. In the width, it's probably bordering on the narrow side, but I haven't had any issues with this being too narrow, so it's probably normal. A good amount of toe box volume as well. Now, differences here with the MAGMAX. So engineered mesh is what they use here. So the material here in comparison to the Sky, it's much more flexible. It's certainly not as robust, but the breathability is better and it conforms around the foot better. Solid heel counter at the back. I'm gonna say probably a little bit more padding around the heel collar here with the MAGMAX. And the best feature, I think, on the upper here is the stretch knit tongue. So it is gusseted, but absolutely amazing. It's got a little pull tab here on the top as well, but it does a great job, this stretch knit. So when you put your foot in, it does a great job of assisting that midfoot lockdown. Absolutely love it. Standard lacing system again, so just reinforced eyelets down either side. No issues with these laces coming undone. And as I just mentioned before, the midfoot lockdown in this shoe is excellent, and it's all got to do with, I think, this stretch knit tongue. No heel slippage in the back of this one either. And in the fit, going to say true to size in the length. In the width, I'm going to say normal. In comparison to the Sky 9, it's probably a little bit more accommodating in the toe box, so a touch wider, and the volume is about the same. Now, stepping comfort of both shoes is excellent, and I think the build quality in both is excellent as well. And in the outsoles, two pretty different designs going on here, as you can see. So a very non-traditional outsole pattern that's going on here. X10 blown rubber in the Sky 9, so it's quite thick. So durability is going to be pretty good in the shoe. It does show signs of wear. However, I'm not too concerned about it. The rubber is quite thick, and once it grinds down to and adjusts to how you strike the ground, then it stays pretty stable from there. I think I'm nearly at 100 kilometers in this shoe already, so no real concerns about the durability in this shoe. In the grip department, obviously looking at the tread pattern on the bottom, it's obviously designed to stay mainly on the road and maybe on a light dirt road, so you're not going to certainly take this one off-road. But in the wet conditions, X10, it's okay in the wet on a freshly wet road. It's certainly not up there with the best, like we are talking about here in the MAGMAX PUMA grip. Obviously much more of a traditional design here, a little bit more of aggressive tread pattern on the bottom, pretty much the entirety of the forefoot, one big strip down that lateral side and in the high wear areas at the rear. About quite thick as well, probably about the same thickness as what you're going to get in the Mizuno, but as I said, performance-wise, durability-wise, I think I'd have at least 200 kilometers in this shoe. obviously all shoes will show signs of wear, but once they find their pattern, once they find their groove, they're usually pretty good if the rubber is durable enough, and that's what this Puma grip is. And as I just mentioned, in the grip department, nothing can beat Puma grip, I haven't experienced anything better than Puma grip. It just holds up in all conditions, so excellent there. Another little feature here on the bottom of the shoe, exposed foam here through the middle, and they've just got this big cutout or this groove through from the midfoot to the rear just to add a little bit of bounce to the ride. And in the midsole, so with the Sky 9 here, so we've got dual density foam, and they're using both versions of their Mizuno Energy NXT foam. So you may know that foam when it has debuted in a few shoes already. So the Mizuno Neo Vista, so the original and the new version, and also the Neo Zen as well. So very exciting foam. So what we've got here on the top layer, they have got their nitrogen infused version of the Mizuno Energy NXT. And then under that, they have got the original version of the Mizuno Energy NXT. That's the same foam that they used in the first version of the Vista. Now, there's no plate in the shoe. However, it does have wave stability technology. So, and instead of that wave plate that Mizuno tend to use in their shoes, they're just creating their stability just by the way that the waves are shaped in the bottom of this foam. In the geometry department, definitely has a 4-foot rocker here, so certainly not too early, not too late, somewhere in the middle. And again, in the rocker department, it's not an aggressive rocker and it's not a gentle rocker. It's somewhere in the middle, but you can certainly feel that one on the run. Now, rigidity-wise, this is quite a stiff shoe. As I said, these waves, I don't know if they provide the actual rigidity in the shoe of how they're created, but it does, like compared to other shoes on the market, this is a pretty stiff shoe. As I said, I can't really even bend it through the 4-foot there. Now, MAGMAX Nitro, so one big slab of this nitrogen infused foam that Puma use. They've got all different versions of their foam as well. From reading around, it's just the one type of nitro foam in this. No plate in the shoe. As I said, rigidity wise, again, this is a super stiff shoe, so it's about the same. They're about the same stiffness as each other. So no plates in them, but yeah, certainly have some stiffening agent inside them. In the geometry department, we have certainly got a 4-foot rocker, and I'm going to say the rocker in the MAGMAX is slightly later, means it's towards the toes a little bit more, and it is a little bit more aggressive. So the tip forward is more noticeable at a later stage of the run than what it is in the Sky 9. And in the ride, lots of similarities here, and that's why I chose to compare these two shoes together. So both are bouncy, both are soft, but not soft and squishy soft, they're nitro soft, meaning that when you do land in these shoes, you don't get a lot of sink into the shoes, and the rebound is quite quick. Both are quite stable shoes, so they've both got really big wide bases, so you do feel quite safe in the shoe, even though they have got quite a high stack. And lastly, they are both super fun to run in, and that's the most important thing for me. Now, where are these two shoes different? Well, all those qualities that I've just mentioned, so the bouncy, the softness, the stability, and the fun factor, they're all just slightly better in the Sky 9. So it's slightly softer, there's a little bit more squish, but there's more bounce. It feels a little bit more stable, and I feel a little bit more safe in this shoe, and I also feel that this shoe is slightly more fun. Now, in the ride department, the big difference is probably the geometry as well. So the later rocker here on the MAGMAX, yeah, it certainly is more noticeable, a little bit more aggressive, and this one does feel just a little bit more bottom heavy, whereas the flatter offset or the flatter drop here in the MAGMAX, I think it complements its rocker just a little bit better, and for me that results in this shoe feeling more efficient for the way that I run. And best shoes, both shoes are ticking off the same types of runs, so both perfect for your easy days, excellent for your recovery days when your legs are really banged up, and both enough protection from the road to handle your long runs as well. However, if I'm going for a long run, I'm reaching for the Sky 9 just because it feels a little lighter, a little bit more efficient on the foot as well. And if you do need to pick up the pace in either shoe, I'd certainly not recommended, but the Sky 9 can certainly get up and going a little easier than what the MagMax can. And just wrapping up the comparison here between these two shoes, so both excellent max cushioned running shoes. So for me, two of the best, or if not the best on the market. They far outperform their rivals, and certainly far outperform shoes that are priced a lot higher than them. So shoes I'm thinking of is the Hoka Skyward X. I'd much prefer both these two shoes. So the Bondi even, the Nimbus, Glycerin Max has got its own place, but I'd still reach for both of these two shoes over that shoe as well. So as you can see, lots of similarities between these shoes, very evenly matched across the board. I'd much prefer the upper and the fit of the Puma. I prefer the Puma grip. However, much prefer, or not much prefer, but I prefer the ride in the Mizuno, so the Sky 9. So this in the ride department, and that's the part that really matters in shoes. It can do everything that the MagMax does, but I think this Wave Sky 9 does it slightly better. So as I said, a little bit softer, a little bit more bouncy, more fun, a little bit more stable. It feels more efficient. And the ride just feels a little bit more cleaner for me. So if I'm picking one of these, I am going with the Wave Sky 9. Absolutely love this shoe. But anyway, guys, that's it for me. Any questions you've got regarding these two shoes, how they relate to anything else, hit me up in the comments. Thanks for watching. Make sure you give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you next time.